Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 658 podcast, 58th podcast of GeekVerse. I am the garlic chomping Trasnell. I'm joined by
I'm the ice cream licking Kirkland Patzer.
lots of mouth stuff going on with these nicknames, but
Oh yeah.
it makes sense with what we're talking about. I'm gonna assume people know what we're talking about with the main plot, but just in case, I won't say what it is because I remember weeks ago. Who knows where he is? Attacked. Taylor's gone. Probably gonna press charges on somebody, not me. But he, I had to tell him at least 3 times the last year what this movie was about. Because I think when it first introduced me, oh, you're gonna like this. It's about a certain genre. You're like, oh, great. And then every 6 months, be like, oh, that's what's the bad guys in this movie? But just in case, if there's somebody that does not know the bad guys in this movie, we're gonna do as usual a non-spoiler breakdown. We'll take a break. We'll tell you a little bit what's going on in Geekverse. You'll get an ad, and then we'll get into full spoilers. But I not speaking for Kirkland because me and him have not spoken about the movie at all, but I would say this is one probably you should just listen on spoilers. If you're like, I don't know if I'm gonna see it, definitely one maybe you should think about coming back to later. But maybe that's a little minor spoiler from my thoughts. But Mr. Patzer, I feel like this movie we talked about for quite a while. We've been excited, especially. So what did you think of Ryan Coogler's? Oh, what is this? This is his 5th feature debut. Or not debut, just 5th feature.
It's his 5th debut.
Yeah,
It's
he's
still a
still
debut.
trying.
It's just the 5th one
Yeah.
after. I was really excited for this one. Just seems like genre I'm into. I feel like the trailers were really what sold me. Like the last I don't know what iteration of the trailer was, but it just had that blues undertone in the soundtrack, and then just you had Michael B. Jordan just wielding a Tommy gun. I'm like, fuck yeah, let's
Looking like
go.
Arnold in
I'm-
the 90s.
yeah,
Jesus.
I'm so ready for this movie, and I was really looking forward to it. And it, I'm kind of torn on this one because
Uh-oh.
I do really love aspects of this film. I'm gonna be saying spoilers, so I'm just gonna I'll say. I think there's a world where this movie is an extremely different movie than what it is. And I honestly think, and I'm going to pitch this once we get to the spoilers. I honestly think that would be a better movie, at least for myself. I don't know how you feel about it. So we'll see how it goes when we get there. I personally think the third act of this film takes a major dive for me, which is
Whoa.
I feel like that's backwards for what you would think if you've seen this movie. I'm just talking in riddles right now, but I guess for non-spoiler wise, I did like it, passing enough for the whole way through. I think that the start of the film, the first half of it, I was 100% engaged. I really liked what they were setting up here. I think just the story and the dynamics, the relationships, I was 100% in on. Michael B. Jordan playing 2 characters. When you first see them together, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be distracting. I don't know. I just feel like he's a talented guy, but just seeing them standing together, I'm like, I know it's clearly
You're having
not two
flashbacks of the Flash when you're like, these aren't 2 Ezra
yeah,
Millers.
yeah,
and-
exactly. That's what I thought the first time I saw them. But beyond that point, I think they did such a good job at distinguishing each brother from just their mannerisms, the way that he would talk. Funny enough, they have one wearing blue, one wearing red, so it's pretty easy visual indicator. So I think they did a really good job with just the twinning aspect, and hats off to Michael B. Jordan for being able to pull off that performance. You literally have to do, they're similar characters, but you have to play 2 different roles in a film, and he's the lead. So really impressive there. I think Haley Steinfeld was just fantastic for how she was used. And yeah, I really don't have any issues with any of the characters. The Sammy character, I can't remember the actor's name, but I thought he was really good. So
I think it was his first film, I'm assuming, because they did the introducing Miles Carton or something. I'll confirm that, but I think this is the guy's first film with it.
He was really
so,
good.
that's a great. That's a bunch of people are gonna put him on his list in the future. Yeah,
Totally.
it is. This is his first movie he's ever done. So this is gonna be a
Nice.
lot of people. I'm sure he's acted and plays and
He
whatnot.
could be in
but
the next
still.
GV film if he wants. We'll hit him up.
We would be extremely lucky for that. But I feel like you're gonna see this dude in a lot of stuff coming up. So
Yeah. But yeah, no, I think I'm just really conflicted because without spoiling what I'm about to spoil once we get to that point, I feel like I just was really really into a movie that it felt like this was setting up to be, and then it just deviates. And I don't think the deviation is bad. Like I think both versions are really good on their own. I just felt like the mixing of everything just it felt too like mixing oil and water. It just didn't go together that well for me. I think the performance was really good. The execution was really good. Like it was a really good looking movie. And yeah, the music was fantastic. I really like just like what they were setting up with the lore and everything. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just a little bit conflicted on there. I think maybe just breaking it down with you, I might be able to iron out some of these wrinkles I have right now because I am conflicted because I did have a good time throughout the whole thing, even though I was a little bit unsure. I think at moments, but yeah. With the sake of potentially spoiling anything else, I think I'll leave it there. And I would recommend this movie. I had a pretty good time. I think there was like 5 people total in my theater, including myself. So everyone was in pairs but myself. I was the one loner.
Yeah.
I went bold too this time. I like went dead center in the film, which I never do if
Wow.
I'm going alone. But I bought my tickets earlier and then I checked the seats right before I went in, and I'm like, okay, yeah, there's no like big crowds all around me or something. I should be pretty safe. And yeah, sure enough, it was all the couples on the perimeter doing their I had the zucchini games as I was just in the dead center with my popcorn enjoying some Michael B. Jordan action.
Poor you. Lots of zucchini going on there. But yeah, you said I'd help you break down. I actually didn't watch the movie. I just came to hear your thoughts. No, I'm joking.
Well, that soccer went long, you know.
Yeah, long soccer game. I
appreciate you at least coming here to
yeah,
partake
gonna,
with this
gonna
review.
walk you through it. Detail said, "Did you do IMAX, Kirk?" No, we don't got IMAX here.
No,
we have
I
like a
wish.
knockoff. Was this even in the extreme screen? Was this one?
No, it was in the small one.
What's
There was
playing
2
Extreme
showings
right
at like
now?
the like similar timing, and they were like
Yeah.
right next to each other, but not the Extreme Theater. I don't even know what's out right now that would be taking up that slot. I guess
Oh,
Minecraft.
it's Minecraft. Yeah,
Yeah.
fuck. We have an extreme, so it's like bigger, and you got Dolby, but it's not IMAX. And I wish
Yeah,
Clone was
definitely.
getting bigger, and I wish we'd get one, but I don't think we will anytime soon. It's such a shame. So yeah, we don't have that option. We have that option. It's just 4 hours away, so we don't usually do that if we're gonna do some GeekVerse reviews. You know,
All my
so.
IMAX experiences have been like the Science World ones, where it's just like about penguins or something, or like a school trip. I had one opportunity to see the Batman when he was coming to IMAX, like back when it was just.
Oh.
I think it had gotten like re-released in IMAX, and then it had ended up being like it was playing like the day after I was leaving Victoria. I was so choked. I would have just gone alone if Shay wouldn't have wanted to go see a 3-hour Batman with me. But to see that in IMAX, that would have been amazing. But what could have been?
It's funny. I accidentally, when I was looking at this guy, Miles Cadden, I clicked on Jack O'Connell right beside his name, but I didn't because I was talking to you, so I didn't see that I did that. So as I just talked about him like being debuting acting, I see like 45 projects. They fucking lied to me, but no, it was Jack O'Connell. But it's like you can't say you're introducing somebody who's in their 45th project, that like other than a joke. But
45th debut, right? It's like the
yeah, it's
movie.
just like Ryan Coogler's 5th debut film. But yeah, no, this is I'll just say it reminds me this is going to be maybe a stretch for some people, but I don't think it is, and it'll be more in spoilers. This reminds me a lot of Django, where Django, that's different because we know Tarantino's style, and you know it's going to get really wacky and out there and everything like that. Coogler, so far, all he's done, which can't say all, that's very minimizing it. This guy is one of the best directors out there. I've talked about him for years. Like Fruitvale Station, very good character-driven piece. Creed, that I don't care about the Rocky franchise. Creed is my favorite movie. He made me care about that franchise, or at least that section of it. I still think Black Panther 1 specifically is the best Marvel movie, and Black Panther 2 is pretty damn good considering everything they had to go through to get there. So this guy, like, I know it's always gonna be quality. But we still don't have like even it's funny because Tarantino takes his time. Even Tarantino, like what that was like his 7th movie, so it's like only 3 Coogler movies away from hitting his like Django. But the thing is, at least then Tarantino's movies are all very different, but they have a very similar tone, right? Where Coogler, I feel like we're still like, okay, who is Ryan Coogler? And I don't mean that in a bad way of like someone that, you know, can't use their talent. He has talent, don't get me wrong. She's like, okay, only 4 films. What exactly filmmaker is going to be? Because it was like an independent movie, franchise movie, then 2 massive blockbusters, and now we're getting into like a genre horror I won't even say somewhat. It's definitely again a character driven movie, and I think that's the biggest thing that I'll give this. That he like that's what all those other movies are. Ryan Coogler, that's what I care about is character. Character, especially say the first two acts is all about, and it's a slow burn. I feel like it takes its time. That's again not a negative, but it takes its time with hey, every character you meet, you're gonna kind of get like a little bit of a backstory. That reminds me of Tarantino. That reminds me of like Grand Theft Auto, when it's like you have 16 people in this game, but you know about why Brucey's doing this and why he's mixed up and everything. But the reason it reminds me of Django, and not just because that's black leads and has to do with some slavery, like it's not really a western, but there's some of those isms in there. It's just that for I'd say the first two acts, there's lots of comedic beats, but Django feels like a very drama, almost like Oscar movie. But then the last act goes crazy with it's full spaghetti western. You got you got oh my god, Run DMC. I don't know. I was comparing a bunch of people's name there, but like you just rap busting out while Jamie Foxx is killing these people, shooting their dicks off. Like, it gets so over the top. Where you're like, okay, and I like that. Right, this goes in a different direction. This is just more the horror, where I feel like the first two acts is a character-driven crime drama. Like that's the way it's set up, and it feels like an Oscar movie. And that's why I think Ryan Coogler one day he's gonna be like Nolan in a few years. He's gonna win an Oscar because it feels like that. But then it's like, okay, but in the third act, we want to get fucking nuts. And they have a couple of those times in there. There's something to do with music in the second act that's like very visually stunning and like kind of comes out of nowhere, but is really cool. This movie has a lot of that stuff where there's some really, really cool stuff in here. And I think it's gonna work and not work for many people. And even myself, there's some sort of like, I don't know if I not exactly love this, but overall, this is a film that I really enjoyed. I love just it just felt like Ryan Coogler. I don't know for a fact, but it just feels like a movie he's probably had in his head for years. I just feel like it's just like he's throwing it up there and just has like every idea. Visually stunning. Again, we've talked about this guy for many, many years, but Ludwig, like this guy can do no wrong. Like he is this generation's Hans Zimmer. Just like the music is very like the music is a character itself too, and that's why it's like when you go down the songs, you see how many people or how many songs Ludwig. It's not that he just did the score; he did the score and then like multiple original songs. It's like this guy is so good, and the music has to be so good because it plays a big role. But that's the thing. There's lots going on. There's tons of themes. Not even talking about the big genre stuff, but acting wise, yeah, Michael B. Jordan's fantastic. I just had to look it up because I was like, this movie has a budget of what is it? 90 million, and then Flash 220 million, probably more than that. And I talked about it before where it's just not the acting wise, but there were so many times where why was Ezra standing beside another Ezra and that Ezra looked a little glossy or CGI, and it's like you have this guy Ryan Coogler who one of the best out there, but still it's like 90 million. It's like they look like they're brothers, and it's Michael B. Jordan plays them in a fascinating way because they are very similar. And I feel like in the first act, other than the colors, I'm like, okay, what is the differences of their personality per se? But as the movie goes on, you get to see that. But at first, it's like, okay, you gotta watch out for that color because if not, and eventually they get split up, so that helps too. But I think that's a great route of they're playing them twins. They grew up together. They've been together their whole lives. Like they haven't, separated. They went to it's not a big spoiler. Like they go to war together. They open businesses together. So all this stuff. But yeah, it's different than I thought it was going to be. But I still love it from a filmmaking point of view. I think this is one where if you were to ask me what I would grade it on a critique level, it'd probably be lower than my enjoyment level because my enjoyment level is quite high. I think there's a few moments in here that don't work, and there's a few things that are a little head scratching, a few things that even certain like end credits, I'm like, maybe this could have been like just a part of the movie in a sense. Like I don't know. It's the third act. I was gonna say it feels like he's throwing stuff at the wall, and it's not that. I feel like it's all by design. I think there's some really great stuff in there, especially even like the last 10 minutes, some great stuff. I just feel like it's a lot packed in, and this movie's already long. It's 220, so it's not like it's a short movie. It's like, hey kid, you only got an hour and a half. He's like, fuck, let's throw everything. It's not that. It takes its time. The third act gets a huge set piece and tons of time given to it. It doesn't feel rushed or anything like that. It's just, especially I'd say the last 25 minutes, there's a lot of movie in here. And I'm very excited to watch this one again because this one that I luckily, Emmy hasn't seen it, so I'm going to watch it with her. But like, I really want to watch this again and go, okay, I know that I very much enjoyed it and liked it, but it's a question of how much. It's in the same thing we've talked about this before where the first time I saw Interstellar, I loved it, but not loved it the same way everybody else. And I'm not, and I think I already like Sinners more than Interstellar like the first time I saw it. But I remember once we retrospected, I'm like, I don't know why I never gave this movie a 10 the first time I watched it. You know, it's something I just need to sit with it. So there's some stuff that I need to sit with on this, but no, filmmaking wise, top notch. It just feels like a guy just at the top of this game doing some great stuff here. Performances, everyone's great. We talked about the Miles guy. Delroy, he's great. Haley Steinfeld's great. Oh, I gotta pull up her name. I can't remember. She's, it's that thing again. Like I don't like to be mean or whatnot, but what is her name? She's a TVA agent or leader from um, Loki.
Oh, um,
God, where is
what the heck's her
she?
name?
Was it Patrice? Was that her name or no? Was that someone else? No.
I don't even
Oh.
see her
I know.
on.
I'm looking in the cast. IMDb. Oh, I wonder if it's by appearance. So she must be down there a little bit. But it just
We'll find her.
reminds
We'll find her.
yeah, it just reminds me of like when we were it's funny, we were just talking about Euphoria before we went on air here. And it's just like when you see Zendaya in the MCU, and you're just like, man, you would never guess this could be one of the best working actresses around. Same thing with her. I'm not saying she's bad in Loki, not at all. I think we liked her and everything like that, and she was in Deadpool Wolverine, but it's like in this she's like Grand Canyons above anything else. So I'm not trying to say the MCU makes you seem like a bad actor, but it's just like it's funny where when you got movies that to me character is the first point and just like how they connect, you get to really see people flesh their skills out. So yeah, I will get her name at some point here, but yeah, fantastic movie for me. I love it. I would recommend it. Like I said, I have some not even issues yet, just some things of like okay, I need to sit with that, and I do have my issues so far are more minor stuff where okay, that's maybe a little convenient, or oh, why did this happen this way? So there's a few things, but it's kind of here's my best way of like again, I could never give this film a perfect 10 on a critical scale, but it's one of those things like all the things I liked about it are so good. Kind of the stuff that I might have an issue with are kind of they're down there, you know, they're in the past, everything like that. So it's funny. Charlie Randall bring up the same thing. Just got out there, great timing, loved it. Whole time I couldn't help thinking about how good double Michael B. Jordan looked compared to Ezra in the Flash. That's what I thought too, because that's the most recent one. I feel like we've talked about other twin stuff since then, but not to this degree where they're the two main characters, right? Because that's more tricky. Like there's action scenes with them side by side. It's like that must have been tough, but they make it look easy. They make it look flawless, and not at any point it's like, oh, Michael B. Jordan's head's kind of floating, and that doesn't look like him. It's just like effortlessly. So I know he's probably gonna go do Black Panther 3 to finish out that trilogy. And I'm not saying don't do the Nolan thing, finish your superhero trilogy, but I'm very excited for what Coogler does after the fact. But yeah, that's the only thing I'd brace you for. It's like an Oscar drama, and then the third act it takes like a big twist. Where something like there, here's an example before we go to spoilers. Like Get Out. That is literally a Best Picture Oscar nominee, but in the first 10 minutes, you know you're watching a horror movie. It's creepy, it's weird, there's stuff going on that doesn't make sense or track. But in this movie, I'll just say that doesn't come into much later. Like, I'd love to have someone watch this that had no idea what this movie was, saw no trailer, because
Yeah.
you like that. Even the opening monologue, it's more about like culture stuff and to do with music. It's not about like, oh, this supernatural thing. I would love, this would have been a movie I would have loved to have seen or read the script having no idea. And I could see, because I think even Clay on our Discord said there's a certain thing with what the enemy is that he actually would have preferred it the other way of just doing the drama. And I do get that, but I had a lot of fun here. So anything else non-spoilers?
Wunmi Mosaku. I hope I'm saying that name right. I'm probably not, but
Perfect.
that's the
Who did she
lady.
play again?
She is like not on IMDb at all, but she played
Yeah.
Annie.
It's weird.
I had to
looked at
Google
that, yeah.
separately from that.
Come on, get her
IMDb is
on there.
just
Who's
shadow
agent?
banning her.
Who's
Yeah.
her agent? Come on, she did a great job. Like this. This was like I said. She's in Loki and whatnot. I never think about her. Just like, oh, she's in the show. She's good.
Yeah.
Never think about her. After this, I'm like, oh, I hope I see her in a lot more. You know,
Well, I
'cause
saw her
she
in
was-
this, and I'm like, where have I seen her from? Like, I've seen her in something, but yeah, to your
Only
point,
2
it's
seasons
just,
of a
it's
show
very
we've talked about,
forgettable. Yeah,
you know,
so,
so-
it's nice to see this level of her. But
Yeah.
no, I just want to get right into spoilers so we can get there.
All right, we're gonna do that. So if you've not seen this movie, now's the time to bow out. Like we said, sounds like we have maybe different degrees of how much we enjoyed it, but we both agree definitely go see the movie and then come back and check out the non-spoilers. Go support a nice, good old original, bigger picture, and then we'll be right back. And we're back. So where do you want to start with Sinners here? Still have
Well,
places to go.
yeah, definitely spoiler marker. If you don't want to get
Yeah.
spoiled, leave now because I want to get right into just the meat and potatoes of my grievance with this and kind of what I was alluding to earlier, where I personally feel like this would have been a better movie without vampires at all. I
That's
did
what Clay said
really.
too.
I really did like the setup of the lore of like the musician in the beginning, the way that they just had like the images like coming in when it's like well like and then the demons are like drawn to whatever the terminology they did for it. Like it was just giving me goosebumps without even like seeing a threat out there. So I did think that aspect to it was really really good. So it got me excited for the vampire stuff. But once we actually got into the movie, I was just so like into these two brothers that were like working for the Capone. They came back home. They're like
Yeah.
setting up like this business in this town. As you already mentioned earlier, like we get time to like really learn about pretty much every character that's introduced, and like I was invested in their story. So I even like a TV series about like this. It's funny. It's similar time era, different part of the world, but like Peaky Blinders is very similar to like this type of era.
Mm.
Obviously, it's not in America, but like still, I was just getting that itch forming for just like more Peaky Blinders, and that's how it felt. Just like these two like badass crime guys that came back home, and they obviously have like a whole skill set and experience, and they're ready to just run this town. And then you get introduced to yeah like the piece of shit like the clan members and everything. You're like, okay, this could be like a threat that they have to deal with multiple times. It's already set up that well, it's not set up, but it's revealed later on that that initial guy that was selling was like the leader of the clan, and then
Yeah.
he was gonna like come back and murder them anyway. So it's like right there, like you have your climax right there, even without a vampire threat. And I did like the vampires. Like that's kind of what was getting me excited for this movie. But I just think the melding together of everything, it just felt so forced for me. And it's like we're going along with the movie in my mind. I'm like, man, like when are they really gonna like have these vampires like interact like to the point of like violence and like full on kind of what I would have expected most of the movie was gonna be. And like that happens, and then I swear like 10 minutes later it's just like the end of the movie, and I'm like, wow, that felt really fast. I'm sure it's a hyperbole, I'm sure it was more than 10 minutes, but that's just how it felt for me.
Really? Okay. I felt it took quite a while from
Yeah.
because to me, the start of the vampire stuff is when they come to sing and then all the
True,
way to the
yeah.
sun. So,
That's
like,
when it's like, okay, here we are. Like I'm moving
yeah.
in my seat. Like this is what I've been waiting for this whole time. But on the other side of the coin, I've enjoyed everything that we got up until that point. So now I'm like, well, I don't want to lose that, but clearly we are because we're going to the point of no return. People are starting to die. Vampires they're getting in now. And then shortly after, Stack gets ridden into the sunset
Yeah.
by Mary there. But so yeah, I don't know. I'm just a little bit conflicted because I did like parts of like the violence at the end, like the action that was all good. Yeah, I don't know. It just felt like to me, I personally would have liked the version without the vampires, but I don't know because maybe that wouldn't have been as good because you don't get like the whole lore setup stuff. So it's tough. I think I might be just asking for too much here. That was just my thoughts when I left the theater. I was a little bit conflicted.
Yeah, I think for me, I guess because I definitely can see that. So, if someone were to, because you've said that Clay said that, I'm sure other people will. I could definitely see that perspective. I guess I think what Ryan Coogler's trying to go for is, which sounds dumb, but what if vampires were in real life? And it's the same way of like, you wouldn't have this build up; they would just kind of show up, right? And I think the problem is we talk about so much times where you meet all these characters in a horror movie, just like a regular, let's just say Blumhouse, whatever they comes out every January, the pool movie, whatever. But it's just like they introduce you to a threat, there's a quick origin, or like opening scene where it kills something, and then you meet all these characters, but you don't care about them really ever, right? Like how many horror movies I feel like have we talked about or reviewed? Like there's, don't get me wrong, there's many, like your screams, your nightmares, stuff like that, but opposed to how many movies have great characters and moments, and then how many or how many movies have like something that's creepy that just kills some people, right? And that's what I think he was trying to go for was, okay, if I want to do a vampire movie but also have invested characters, I think if you get to that point earlier, which I guess, yeah, you have the guy that does, the main, I'll get his name there because I've never seen this. I'll take this back. I'll come back to Jack O'Connell later on. I just got to get his name here. Remick was his name. That's the main vampire guy.
Hmm.
Obviously, you have that one scene where he meets like the, the clan members, right? But other than that, the first two acts for the most part, because I can't remember when that part happens, it is just like a regular movie. So I think that's what he was just trying to achieve is how would this progress in a real world where you're just all these things are going, right? Because like I said, if you didn't know this, you would watch this movie and be so shocked. Where so many times it is like even Nosferatu, right? It's Lily Rose Depp standing out there like, come to me, and then and then it's like, okay, we don't see Nosferatu for another like 40 minutes again, but it's like right away said like, okay, that monster's coming. So I think that's kind of why he wanted to do, in my interpretation of, once you get invested in the world, the character, and their stakes, even before they get to like the bad like the worst stakes. It's just the clan members. Yeah, that's bad. Money laundering. They even talk about how people in Chicago might be after them. So I think they just kind of set up like, okay, this is like the regular life stakes, but then this is the ultra, break glass. What are we gonna do here? Stakes. Like this is as bad as it can get. So I think that's just what he was. Because I just wonder if you sprinkle, even myself, not that I found I was waiting for the vampire, but I was waiting to see how they interlocked it. So I thought that maybe that's what he was doing as far as, hey, you don't need, the audience isn't going to be like, oh, I just saw that vampire kill somebody and now there's enough killing, right? If they make you just care about Steinfeld and the Jordans, then maybe it's like, okay, I don't even like, and maybe it even worked that way for you, right? Where you're like, oh, I don't even need the vampire threat. I'm just
Yeah.
invested in that story. So, but in the other version, then maybe it doesn't sound like for you, the showdown worked from it's like them versus vampires, where for me it's okay, I'm invested in all these characters and now it's like, okay, now we're getting them versus the vampires, where usually it's a bunch of paper thin 2D characters that I really don't care. Like
Yeah.
in this movie, when people, even when I can't remember the couple that had the daughter at the grocery store when the husband went missing.
Yeah,
I'm like,
the chows. I think
yeah,
is
I'm
what
like,
they were.
oh, he's got to make it out. He's been gone for a while. We haven't saw him get killed. I'm like, that's gonna be a happy moment. And then when you just see him walk up while the other guy's getting his neck gnawed, and I was like, oh no. And then they even say that thing of like, oh yeah, and we're gonna go find your daughter, right? So that's why, for me, I think that's why the vampire stuff works, because I'm so invested in multiple characters. When they actually die, I feel something or I'm mad. Versus, okay, you got horror movie B that I'm invested in our star and everybody else is just fodder that I don't really care about. I'm invested in even Sammy's like, woman who has the wife and is having an affair with him and stuff. I'm like, oh man, and she has a great moment. Like I'm invested in all these people. So I think that's where the vampire stuff worked for me.
Yeah, no, it's fair, and like maybe if you don't have the vampire threat, this is just a lot less of an enticing film. It's just like, okay,
Absolutely.
it's just like a Django without Tarantino-isms.
Yeah.
you know.
He's not getting 90 million for just a crime drama
Yeah,
for this.
yeah. So I do get that point. I think something else that was kind of bugging me at the end was, it's true. It's nice getting time to introduce these characters and get a little bit attached to them, to the point that when we're having the full on shoot down, it's like, oh my god, I don't want to lose anyone because I know their story now. I felt like, other than like who's like our main cast who's like not in like the final group, like after Stack like breaks out of the room, he leaves. It's like our remaining team. It's Lisa Chow, right? Because at that point, I think Bo might still be there at that point.
No, he's still in there when he's dead, because he's like, we don't want to be a part of this, and or she says that to him, and he's like,
Right,
we can't leave, right? We can't leave him right now, and she's like, we agreed to help him out. We got a daughter. We got to go, and he's like, yeah, right. The second she mentions the daughter, he's like, even though I want to help my friends, we should get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
So that's when they just think Stack is dead. And
Okay,
not
yeah.
what's going? Yeah.
My point is just like, I feel like majority of the characters that we care about are like in that final room, and it just felt like a lot of our vampire threats, which by the end was a lot. Like I'm pretty sure they got like pretty much every single person that left, right? Like they had a big
No one made it out
Midsommar
of there.
circle going on. They were like celebrating the Mayflower Queen. It looked like at some point when they're dancing around there.
Oh my god, that
so-
stuff, that scene's horrifying. The dance and stuff, and they're having a good time. For me, that's
Yeah.
It's not. You take out the vampire stuff, it's not really creepy at all. But it's just like this cult creepiness. You got Jack O'Connell just doing his like Irish shuffle or whatever. Who like I guess I've heard this guy being a great actor before. I've only seen him in one thing called what is it? Eden Lake. It's a movie with Fassbender. He's really good. He's like this shit kid who's like a villain. He's like a little serial killer, and he's like, this is when he's like young, but that's the only thing I've heard of him in. And then I've always in fan guys to see like Jack O'Connell, Jack O'Connell. He was in Skins too. Okay, that's why people must love him too. But I'm always like, who is this guy? After this, I'm like, okay, I know who the fuck this guy was because I thought he was. I
Yeah, he
got
was great.
he was great because he was like a villain, but he's super charming and charismatic, and just even when, like, I hate to say it, but when he did that speech at the end of like why he should turn, I was like, oh fuck, he sold me, like especially in this time when he's like, you have all
Yeah.
this money, you have this land, but are you actually free? Like, or are they just gonna come back and take it all from you again? So it's like that's like kind of like that he was like trying to pitch them of like, I don't care who you are, I don't care if you're white, black, Asian. It's like, let's just all be together. Now, of course, it's like sinister and devils and stuff, but like, I didn't think his pitch was that. He sold me. I was like, you know what? He might have a point here. It looked like Stack ended up being pretty happy at the end. I'm just gonna say that. So
That's right. He's got Haley Steinfeld with him. That's why.
for eternity, what a deal, what a deal.
Never aging. They're always in their physical prime.
Yeah, fuck the sun. Doesn't matter if we don't got the sun.
Just closing out my thoughts for what I was trying to get across there, though. It just seemed like the big last stand. It was pretty much just zombies, or not zombies. I guess they're vampires, but like it just a big horde of vampires that like I didn't know who they were. Like, they were just the people at the party.
Well, we had
minus
four.
Harry Steinfeld. Why do I keep saying Harry Steinfeld? Haley Steinfeld. Michael B. Jordan. Like
Cornbread for sure.
Cornbread, yeah.
He was great and likable.
He was great for sure.
I like that scene of just like, oh, you make enough money, maybe your wife will suck your pecker. And he's like, that's what I'm going to knock the black right off of you. And then she's like, how much is it? How much is it first? And then he's like, all right, sis. Then it's like, okay. And even though you're right, it's on the main cast, because I'm trying to think if there's anyone else in that. So for me, I was invested in the husband. So the Mr. Chow. So that's four. And then I'm not invested because he's a good guy, but the villain I have up there because I'm just like want to see what the hell he does. Like, I don't care about the clan couple. But yeah, so we got some heroes on that side that didn't make it.
It was just tough because it seemed like it was the build up to like basically storming the beaches moment where like this is the big, they break through, the movie's not ending until we're dead or they're dead. Like this is the last stand moment. And right before it happens, I'm like, how the fuck are they going to win this? Like they don't have any guns other than like actually that's a lie. They got a couple guns.
It's just to stun them though.
Not enough to like really do damage. But I'm like, the second they get through that door, man, like they're going to get like one person, that person's going to turn to a vampire and then they're going to turn on them. And it's just, it just didn't seem like it was going to be a realistic like final stand for what I would have expected to happen because I figured they wouldn't have just got wiped out instantly. Like that's just not entertaining. Plus there's still time left on the clock. But
that's just how it ends. Just rolls credit as they're all like
they're all happy together. Yeah.
See, and that's why I compare to Django because that's the same thing where it's like Django goes in this mansion and he takes on like 30 people and same thing, he doesn't win, right? They capture him. But I think it works better there because it's like more comedic. So it's just like rah rah. Where this is more dramatic, right? So you're not really thinking that way. But that's why that third act reminded me of Django going in there and just like how many bullets does he have? How many guys are in this mansion? But Django's going through, he's like jumping through doors. Yeah, he's jumping through doors and like he's just destroying people. I had issues with that scene overall because I agree. I love the build-up. I love when you can tell Miss Chow's like she's gonna fucking invite them, and you're just like, oh my god, like don't. And they're all getting that feeling. She's making Molotov cocktails. Like, what are you doing? And then when she's just like, get the fuck in here. Great shot of Jack O'Connell when it's like there's like it's just him on the beach and there's like smoke behind him and he just smiles in his eyes, which I appreciate because not to the same degree, but in Taylor and Kirkland can notify this is when we were doing Adrenochrome. I was like one of my inspirations for Hunter was the wolf from Puss in Boots, and Ryan Coogler said that's what one of the inspirations for the eyes when he saw Puss in Boots. He's like, I want the vampires to have those eyes. But that shot when she says, come the fuck in here, and he's just smiling, it's like that sigh of relief of like, oh good, I'm gonna sit here all night. And then boom. My problem was like, yes, it was the way I wish they did something where because she throws that cocktail and he just like throws that out of there, like doesn't do anything. I wish there was a way where in my head to make that seem a bit better, you throw that cocktail and that kind of keeps some of them out, right? Like obviously it's not going to kill them, but maybe then only a few come in at a time instead of this being like, I'll say it's like, I'll be nice. I'll say it's like 24 people, let's say, like 24 vampires. So, and there's like, oh, I'll see it, Michael B. Jordan. He's worth like 5 guys, but like Delroy's a drunk, I don't know. Sammy's not a fighter. Michael B. Jordan keeps both Michael B. Jordans beat him the fuck up multiple times in this movie, like hitting him this and that and stuff like that. But so the build to the scene is great. And my issue is like I feel like there's multiple shots where they show the vampires jumping onto people, and they're attacking people that have not been in this barn before. Like other good guys that like where were they? Like I'd have that. This is why I legitimately this can't go against my critiques because I have to rewatch it. I just remember vampires jumping on people being like, I don't think they were with our crew. Like, this doesn't make sense. So that's more of a memory thing. But there's stuff like, okay, when you said Annie was the girl from Loki, right? The character name. So great scene. They set that up, right? Hey, if you, and that was, oh, what a heartbreaking reveal. I didn't even clock that. I should have with the small rock. And I just have a small baby when they do the like, or babies, when he goes to see her. And there's more about her with the voodoo stuff I want to get into, but there's like that little memorial and stuff. At first, I thought that might be his dad's, right? Because they set up that his dad, they killed his dad, or his dad died, or whatever. It's like, okay. But then the second, they get that, they have a connection still, they make love. And then later on, when they reveal they had a kid together, and she says, like, hey, I got someone waiting for me on the side. You do too. And they show the flashback, and it's the rock with the little handprint. Like, holy shit. And then she's like, don't let me become one of those things. So when he kills her, he's killing her. Great scene. Shouldn't laugh. Like, fantastic acting by them both. But then for some reason, Haley Steinfeld, Michael B. Jordan, like, we got to get out of here. We got to go. The sun's not coming up at all. Like, where do you got to go? Like, in that scene, there's multiple kind of plot armor elements. I wish, like, just do something here. And something that, like, I shouldn't laugh. But, like, so Mrs. Chow, she throws a cocktail. Great. She runs, takes down one, and then herself gets set on fire. And we just got multiple shots of her going, oh, and she's on fire, killing one vampire. At
That was
least
her
make
husband, though.
I know, granted, but at least like make her sacrifice, take down a couple. Because here's the thing, too. Her whole plot is I guess she just wants to kill him, right? But it's just like, I gotta get back to my daughter or something for my daughter. So it just feels like, yeah, you killed your husband, but it's just for me it was funny when they kept going back to her and it was just one of them. But still at the same time, it's very intense. Like it's shot very well. It's very dramatic and like kind of emotional at times like that. But I just thought like, oh, this is all you got? Like everyone else is fighting multiple vampires and here you are just burning yourself alive. It's like, all right.
And she started this whole fucking thing. Like she's killing all these people.
Easy
that
way
would
out.
have been fine.
Yeah. So I think there's parts of the scene. I think the filmmaking of the scene is great, like shots wise, music, build up, everything like that. But I think there's some of the writing or just story beats that didn't make sense for me. And that's probably, I still like that portion, but it's probably the weakest part for me because there was a couple times that took me out of like, I said, I don't remember that guy. Why is she doing this? Why did Michael B. Jordan and Haley Steinfeld just run off in the middle of this attack? Like they had them dead the rights. Michael B. Jordan just sitting there crying, like, just pounce on your brother and you got him.
I know.
You know?
Yeah.
So it just felt very, even though I love at some point they get up and they open this door and it's this great like music cue. It's almost a jump scare and it's Remick and he's like, Sammy, and he just jumps through and he grabs Sammy by the face. It's like, oh my. So that's the thing. It's like every time there's like, I have something that's an issue, there's like three things that I love in the scene. So.
No, it's totally fair. I was right there with you though with the when Michael B. Jordan, Haley just like get up and run away. It's like what the fuck is happening here? Like this doesn't make any sense.
Like
if
if the sun's coming out, I get it.
Their whole goal is to like take these people, but no,
Yeah.
they're just gonna bow out here, recoup, and then they just like, well, I guess I'm a little fuzzy on what happens after that because at what point does Michael B. Jordan get Michael B. Jordan and then like with the stake and then
Well, that's a top. So that's when they get upstairs. It's him, Sammy, and I can't remember the lady who was the
Perline, I think is her name.
was it Perline? Yeah, because that's another actress I have to look up and see because I know her from somewhere. Yeah, Perline. They're all together. She gets bit, but yeah, when that door opens, he goes, "Oh, Sammy!" It's those two up top, Michael B. And so I don't know where Haley Steinfeld went in that moment, but yeah, they were up there, and then that's when we didn't get the reveal that Smokes didn't kill Stack, and that like obviously that comes later on. So yeah, it's up top when they're trying to make their escape. Michael B. Jordan, Stack, and Remick was just sitting up there waiting for a moment to strike. So
okay,
yeah,
it was a little bit. I mean, there's just so much going on in those sequences.
there is. Yes.
I also just, what's his name? The harmonica piano player, something Slim, Delta Slim, I think is his name. I loved him throughout the whole movie. I thought he was great.
Yeah.
Does he get bit in the fight? Like, why does he sacrifice himself there? I was so confused. And then he like slices slices his arm, and he's like, "Come get it!" And he's just like spritzing
Well,
the vampires. I keep saying zombies.
I did think he was gonna like blow something up, but I think he was just trying to get the horde onto him because they're still hungry vampires, right? And then
Okay, but like fuck, 30-second delay, and then they just go up the stairs because there's like 24. I was chuckling myself in that moment because he's like, everybody go upstairs, and they're like, no, like come with us. He's like, no, I got this, and he just slices his arm, and then yeah, less than a minute later we're upstairs again. But
I I didn't know this. The girl that plays what is it there? Perline. She's the fucking Bella Riel from the Batman, like the one that's running for mayor. The new mayor, she gets shot.
oh, okay.
Yeah, I
Wow,
don't remember
didn't know
who
that.
she was, but she's the Woman King I really liked. But she's also in Edgar Wright's Running Man that comes up next year with Glenn Powell. So she's breaking out big time. But
Nice.
now, yeah, I didn't even clock. I just whole movie. I'm like, I've seen this one before.
Yeah.
Where is it? And that would make sense because I've watched the Batman multiple times. And that was actually the only second thing she ever did was the Batman. So I've seen it so many times. I was like, where is this person? But
Yeah.
yeah, that I liked her a lot. I'm
Yeah.
again looking forward to see what else she does in the future. I liked their lots of affairs going on here. You know, Haley Steinfeld's married, Perline's married, but I like right away where they're flirting at the train station. She's like, you know, oh, I'm married, don't get any ideas, and she walks away, and there's just like that glance between the two, and
Happily.
yeah, happily, yeah. I loved the love making scene I thought it was good dramatic wise, but also just comedy wise of, you know, listen to my cousin, see what he's getting into and stuff like that.
It's what's her name? Like, yeah, Mrs. Chow is
Yeah.
like, and then she just does that face. Mrs. Chow also, like, that actress, she was fantastic for me in the whole film. I like she doesn't do that much like on her own, but just like the way that she like lifts every scene that she's in was just fantastic. I think both her and Mr. Chow, they just felt like very real type of like just well written people or like characters for not being your mains. Like they just felt very, very realistic. I love the scenes like earlier on when they're dealing with smoke and like with the daughter dynamic, and just
Yeah.
excellent filmmaking. The way that like they have like the camera follow Mrs. Oh no, it's the daughter at that point. It goes to the
Yeah,
one
and then, like,
store,
hands
and then they
off,
switch,
yeah.
and then it follows her back. It's just like, man, this is just such a well crafted piece of cinema here.
Second she got out of that restaurant, I'm like, oh, they're doing a Warner right here. It's like, and not a bad thing, but you could just feel like the way they set up the camera and everything's moving around. I'm like, oh, they're gonna do Warner, and they did. I was gonna say, did you ever end up seeing Babylon a couple of years ago with Margot Robbie and other
no.
people? The actress that plays Mrs. Chow, she's in there as Margot Robbie's
Oh, okay.
girlfriend for like a segment of the film, like not a segment, meaning maybe like act two. But yeah, if you ever watch that, that's something to keep your eyes on,
Nice.
because yeah, she's really good. Yeah, there's just a lot of really good people in this goddamn movie, you know. So
Mhm.
yeah, I didn't have the same problem with Delta Slim, but I'm not saying you're wrong. Again, it's like the Michelle thing. I wish the sacrifice meant a little bit more
Yes,
of,
100%.
you know, instead of just the husband, take out multiple, instead of just like because it wasn't a moment where they need to get away per se. Like, of course they need to get away, but just something where that's what I thought, because he had the liquor and he was by the liquor. I thought he was like lighting that place up. So I was like, okay, this makes sense. Get them on you, then boom, power keg, and at least they're on fire. They're running around. Like I could see that. That's a good diversion of, hey, I'm gonna light these vampires on fire. But that
Yeah.
didn't like he bought them sometime, of course. But yeah, great character. Delroy Lindo is like, he's such a really great character actor, but from the moment we meet him, I can't say he's the heart of the movie, because that's probably God, what's the cousin's
Sammy.
name? That's probably Sammy. But if it's like number two, and even, it's tough not to say it for Smokes. Like there's multiple characters that have that, but all the way from we meet him outside to him telling the story and telling him like get off the corner because this is my spot, and how he's not gonna leave his job, to like the story with his dad and the story about his slave years, and all the way through, like, man, and he just seemed like a guy you'd want to hang out with, you know, when he relieves cornbread off his post and everything like that. And he's just cracking jokes, and just but the second he gets serious, I like that. Other than at one point he said he shit himself, I didn't need that joke. That didn't work for me because he's with the vampires. But other than that, he cracks and he's
Yeah.
completely serious, and yeah, great character here. So
Yeah, it just makes his send off that much harder for me to swallow, because you just fantastic moments throughout the whole film for him. And as you already mentioned, just like when they're driving, it's Sammy, Stack, and himself are driving, and they go across. They like come across the chain gang, you know, working on on
Yeah.
the side of the road there, and then that's when he like goes into just a little more backstory, and just like I feel like that is like where like a director like Coogler is just like shining so much more as opposed to someone else that just does like a generic action movie, because like you just don't get those like really powerful scenes, because like that doesn't have anything to do with vampires. You know what I mean?
No,
So
not
like,
at all.
so in the early like film, when we're getting all this like supplement for these characters, all the backstory, I'm just like, man, like I want to watch a 24 episode season of these guys and just like their adventures. I love all these characters. So and then we get to the third act and just vampires now, and we're just gonna, this is how we kill off every character that's in this movie. And I think it was just like that more than what happened with the vampires is what I just am upset about.
Yeah.
But it was the decision that was made.
That's fair. Yeah. No, it. It's a vampire movie, so that's where it's
Yeah.
like, it's no going back, right?
And
So
I
it's like,
also very wish I didn't see the trailer before this one,
especially
especially
that
with
second
the
trailer with the Michael B. Jordan turn.
Yeah, okay. I couldn't remember what trailer it was specifically, but I'm like, man, if I got like going into this movie and then I learn a little bit more vampires, and then I'm like, man, hopefully nothing happens to either one of these brothers, and you don't know which one it could be. But it's like, well, it's Stack because
Yeah.
it's shown in the fucking trailer, so I'm just waiting for that moment to happen the whole movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty egregious. The other one too that really bugged me was the trailer scene that got me really really hyped is Michael B. Jordan rocking that Tommy gun, and he doesn't fucking have that gun through the whole film. So I'm
Yeah.
like, was that just like a fake scene that they added to the trailer? And then of course at the end, him and Sammy pulling out this crate. I'm like, for fuck's sakes, he's gonna pull out the
Got
Tommy
it.
gun here. He's gonna light up some clan members, which is great. You know, they deserve it. But like, fuck, it's
Yeah.
just yeah, little upset about that one. So trailer, not to the level for No Way Home for me, but or far away from home, far from home.
Yeah.
Shouts out to that one. That one scarred me for life. But
Yeah, no, the first one I think was just more a teaser, and then that one gave way too much away. If I was Cougar, I would have been pissed. At least the Michael B. Jordan part, right? I get the Tommy gun one because it's like Michael B. Jordan, he's looking hot,
it's
he's
a
looking
great shot.
jacked.
It
Yeah,
got me in the theater. I was
get him
pumped
on
for it.
there, you know. So, and yeah, that was an interesting scene. Like this movie reminds me of Return of the King. You got like 5 different endings here, but that scene alone is great. Where they have this meeting with a maybe or maybe not member of the clan. He's like, that doesn't work down here. Calls him boy. And he's like, oh no, that's just the way we speak. Don't worry. Like I don't mean anything by it. But he shows up with, again, it's like the vampires, like an obscene amount of clan members. Where I'm like, how's Michael B. Jordan gonna get out of this? And it's not just like they're there with guns. Like they have a lot of, but
It's the ending of Red Dead Redemption 1, you know.
it is, but Michael B. Jordan wins. He pretty much he kills them all at least, where R.I.P. to John Marston. But he's like just in the bush with a sniper in the dirtiest hell, the Tommy gun. Yeah, he kills them all, gets a cigarette. But that's where like again with on the spiritual sense of this movie when they talked about earlier, and he's like, oh, I got someone waiting for me on the other side. When he sat down, he just looked over and saw her holding like their child that they lost. I didn't actually choke up, but it got me with like, man, this is a fucking powerful ending right here. Like this is good stuff. Which again, there like you don't get that in like a vampire slasher movie.
No.
Like again, I will walk that back. Golden Geeks winner. I do think Nosferatu did that, right? I'm not gonna say in case people haven't seen it, but Nosferatu I think ended in a way like that, where it's like, oh, this is a very powerful, deep ending with how Nosferatu is taken care of. So again, other than I'll take out Robert Eggers' Nosferatu, these type of movies you don't get like a huge character moment like that makes sense and it's touching and it's he's on a suicide mission there, because when he sits down, he's rolling his cigarette and he rips off that thing that I can't remember what they called it.
I think it was the Mojo or something.
Yeah, the
like
Mojo,
that.
yeah, because they kind of establish as whatever she is, girlfriend, wife, lover, whatever, the person he wants to be with is dabbling in some sort of voodoo, some magic and everything like that. So she's giving him this mojo, even to the point where later on, Stack tries to bite Smoke and it doesn't work. It's almost like a cross on his neck that's like stopping him from doing that. But when he rips off that thing, it's like, oh man, of course he wants to kill these clan members, but he's just looking to die. He's looking for a reason to die here. And yeah, no, I thought that was great. I don't know how I feel about now with the other endings we've gotten, but I need to, again, that's somewhere I need to sit on because I think it's a powerful moment. And then obviously until end credits later, you got like another moment later on, but and even then you got another moment with Sammy. There's like I said, there's lots of stuff going on, but I thought that was a great full circle for that character. So yeah, it was a great end for me.
Yeah. And then like really, really beautiful, touching scene. I loved it. And then I hated how it like quickly shoots back to that remaining member. He's like, I got money. I'm sorry. It's like, what? Why even have him speak in this moment? Like, just fucking let. Like, he should have bled out already. It should have just been Michael B. Jordan seeing his what could have been, and then just fade away. Like, I
Yeah.
feel like that would have been such a better moment. Even the part when he shoots him, and then he asks him for a cigarette, and then he's like, "Fuck off," he says a racial slur, whatever the fuck he says to him. And then like a second later, he just like pulls out a cigarette and he's like, "Here you go."
Yeah.
It just seems so clunky. I'm splitting hairs here. It's not a
Yeah.
big thing by any
He
means.
did do that at
but
the
it's
beginning, though, right? Because he did say kind of like he was going to sell them the place, and then they kind of looked at him sideways, like, okay, well, it's yours if you want it, but I just need the money. So I think they're just trying to say that like he's 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 a racist piece of shit, but he's still coward at the like anytime he gets pressed.
Yeah.
Like, okay, no, I'll like it doesn't matter that you're not white. I'll come to you. But I did appreciate him just getting fucking just loaded up with
Yeah, it's
bullets
fair.
there. He
You didn't miss. Yeah.
no, not a single one of those missed. Tough way to go out. So
Um, cool. We kind of talked about Steinfeld a little bit. I was really just intrigued, I think, by the setup I saw her in the trailers. I didn't know what was her inclusion was going to be, but I like everything in the first act. Like I was just totally loving the backstory there. How there was history, like built up some tension, but some history. I like how she kind of like they detail why she's so close with everyone in this community. And yeah, I was totally just engaged and under the false narrative that she was really not gonna kick the bucket that early. But man, she goes out to see the trio playing their little fiddles there. And yeah, it's quite a way to go. I really like how it was shot too, how she like almost gets out of there and then it
I
like
love
he just
that.
like leaps and then it cuts. Like, oh man, just really really great.
Yeah.
Because you don't really see a lot of like the takedowns from the
No.
vampires. It's like quick shot and then you just see them later on, and then of course it's like, okay, cornbread. There's no way he fucking got out of that situation. You know what I
No,
mean?
no, I
Like,
can't.
like he's coming up to the door. Yeah, I'm pretty sure
Oh,
he's
I
got
had to
bite
shit.
marks
Sorry.
somewhere. But they did a good job of just building the tension with that. But yeah, with Haley's character there, I was pretty surprised to see her go that early, and it was, I mean, that's really just what gets us going. And then of course, Stack, he takes one last ride, and
Yep. At least as a human, though, I'm sure he's taken more rides in the past,
yeah,
like
that's true.
50, 70 years and whatnot. But yeah, one, because in case we never talk about, love the cornbread where it's just the fireflies and you kind of see the eyes there. That was a great moment there. And
Yeah.
I liked that character too. He's fun, comedic relief that
Mm-hmm.
not like feeling like comedic relief, like, oh, here he comes. They're like very natural situational humor. So
Yeah.
that worked. Steinfeld, that's what confused me because I knew, again, because trailers, I knew she was becoming a vampire at some point. So obviously later on I did figure it out because I'm just like, okay, well, vampires, they can't be in daylight, but you never know vampire rules and what they're doing, right? And she was wearing a hat. But when I saw her at the train station, I'm like, okay, is she already a vampire or is she like affiliated with these vampires and stuff like that? Because I'm trying to make the connection of what I've seen in marketing and everything. Because all we've seen is her as a vampire and her looking really hot, right? And that's one thing where, don't get me wrong, they got her saying some wild shit in here about stealing pussy and, you fucked me so good. Like she's got a dirty mouth, but she, for the most part, I'd say for Act One and half of Act Two, is like, I won't say prim and proper, but like a nice younger woman who, like, yeah, can be crass, can throw it down, but she is more just I'd say approachable and more regular. Where once that happens to everybody, but in the marketing, I just feel like they kept showing her dancing and looking really hot, like just a sex pot, right? But like that's what I'd say is she's not a sex pot character until she becomes a vampire,
Yeah.
and that's where, from an acting standpoint, I like that too because I feel like you see the more normal, regular, the person you could have a heartfelt feeling towards. She just lost her mother. She is married, but this is a guy that said like very confusing conversation. I was trying to figure out where he, she's like, oh, well, you said you love me. He's like, well, you didn't listen to what else I said. And she's like, well, yeah, you told me to leave me to fuck her alone. And he's like, yeah, you should listen to that. But then later on, we hear they're talking again, and she's made it sound like Michael B. Jordan said like he'd be back for her. So it sounded like they had a very rocky relationship at some point. But I can look past some of the, okay, what's going on here, because that happens with many people. But that's what I enjoyed was the differences of her as and with the vampire, because like we get to see that with Stack a bit, but I feel like he disappears. I feel like Steinfeld's the most you get to see with, okay, before vampire and
Yeah.
after vampire. And like I said, I was not really expecting any of this character. I wasn't expecting Michael B. Jordan's character to have like a one that got away or anything like that, especially from her. So, and I thought they had good chemistry, and yeah, very great moment of the sex scene into that, because you just don't know when's gonna happen. At one point she like pushes his neck back, but she just kisses him, and just like such like a good, like, she's drooling, and they established that earlier because Remick, he's drooling when he's about to bite her, and that goes away, but she's drooling, and then Michael B. Jordan's kind of like, what the fuck's going on? But then she like turns into a sex thing. Like, wants something. He's like, yeah. And then they start doing it. It's like, yeah. I was like, oh, that was so good though, because he has no idea. He's just like in a euphoric moment of like, oh, I'm gonna love this person again, because again, she's married. And I bought, because I did not see that coming. I love that they tie it up to that these two brothers, they work for Al Capone, one of the biggest gangsters. She's the one that found out, because they say like, oh, we got liquor from, I can't remember, is the Irish and someone else.
The Italian wine, and then they had Irish beer.
Yeah, so it's, oh, like, you got this really rich stuff. Haley Steinfeld figured out that they pretty much just stole from multiple mobs, but then pinned it on each other, and then they got out of there, right? So I bought the reasoning for both of them, where Smoke was more centric on the cousin, kind of talking like he's telling him to go to the bayou, all this stuff, but it really just felt like he was trying to say like, they don't want him around here because of their life, right? Like, almost if it ever catches up to them, they don't want to be responsible for their cousin getting gunned down or anything like that. Smoke didn't phrase it that way. He was almost making it like, talking down to him, but I feel like he meant that way. And then with Stack and Haley Steinfeld's character, I can't remember what was her name. Oh boy.
Haley's character?
Yeah. It's fucking IMDb. It's
Mary.
Mary. Okay. And then with her, I bought that too, of, hey, they wanted to go out, make a name for themselves, become free, get a bunch of money, and they couldn't be together, whether it was because of the crime, whether it's because of the way people see her, which that's something that they only touched a little bit about this, but it is like I'm not trying to be like, oh, explain how it is. I just go from my experience of like, with Kyle, he has a black dad and a white mom, and I've had many conversations about that, where when you have that, or if people consider you like light skinned, that can be like a form of racism within the race, like within that community of, everybody is with each other, but then it's like, oh, but you're not black enough, right? Like, you're not, and I'm not saying people, whatever their experiences with that, but that's what they touch upon in this movie, is multiple characters being like, oh, you don't really belong here. And she's like, well, I'm half black, like my father was half black, like I have that there. But even there's that great moment of when Remick and his little clan people are out there and like, oh, you can't come in, this is just for people of our ilk, get to that. And he's like, well, how'd she get in, and it's just like that, like, oh, like, because she just like a couple scenes ago talked about how she is black and she's in this community, but people don't really accept her because she is more fair skinned looking,
outsider,
right? So
to everyone, pretty much.
yeah, so then right away Remick calls her out, and obviously, and he's like, oh, she's family, but just like oh man, like hit right to the bone. So they didn't go too deep on that, but I appreciate that, because I felt like we were talking about with Delta, I feel like that just gave me more little like third dimensional, if I can say that right, of for the character, like what they're going through, right? It's not just, oh, she's in love with Michael B. Jordan. Like, you could easily do that, right? Of long lost love, but it's like, oh, she feels like that way, but then she also has her own struggles on the side going on here, and she also lost her mom. So they just like layer all these characters with multiple things where it's like, okay, I have an idea of who Mary is now and what her struggles have been in this life. And but yeah, she also was just, again, poor. I wonder what Mary and God, what was it? Permaline was her character? Yeah, Perline. Perline. I wonder what their husbands think. Their wives just went out, waiting for them to come back, and not good stuff. So
yeah, it's gonna be a bloody mess when they go check out the juke joint.
Yeah, all these clan members, Michael B. Jordan's dead. It's a tough time. All these ash everywhere, but I digress. Let's take an ad break. We'll be right back. And we're back. Where do you want to go next, sir?
Any characters we haven't touched upon yet? I guess they like the start of the movie starts with Sammy and his father.
Another Tarantinoism. Start at the end, work your way back to the beginning.
I really liked the opening. I thought it was really good.
Did that jump scare get you?
It did. Like, I didn't really react, even though it did get me. Like, it got
me.
me internally, but I didn't jump physically, if that makes any sense.
I jumped because I was
Yeah.
just not. I was not expecting it at all. If people, for some reason, listen, don't watch the movie. Sammy shows up. He's holding a guitar. His face just fucking slashed to God knows whatever, and he's
Yeah.
going to a church. We don't know at this point, but at this point, his father's a pastor. But as he's walking up, it's just like a big jump scare and flash of Jack O'Connell's Remick. It's just, and then the other ones didn't get me because I knew, okay, this is what they're doing. But that first one, I wasn't expecting
Yeah.
that. I just, oh, he's walking in a church and he's talking to his dad or my son. I'm like, okay, what's going to happen? Then they just fucking got me. And yeah, before I forgot, you mentioned that. I absolutely loved the Jack O'Connell getting Haley Steinfeld thing. Because like, oh, she's away. And just to see
Yeah.
him like float. Because again, you don't know what vampires do in all media. Some fly, some disappear, some turn to bat. So it's like, okay, I know they're going to get her, but how so? And then just like that little levitation, that boom, cut. There's another one. It might have been with Cornbread too, where someone was saying something and they used, it wasn't a jump scare, but they timed the sound to like Michael B. Jordan pushing through the door.
Yeah. He said,
Very
like, "Peekaboo"
clever
or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
clever editing throughout. So, but anyways,
100%.
yeah, it's back to Sammy and the church going forward.
Yeah, I just thought it was a really, really great setting the tone. It's funny because this is when I'm like going to the theater to see a vampire movie. And then everything after this, I'm like, I don't even want the vampire movie anymore. This is good stuff. But I thought it was a really good tone setter, especially for what's going to happen later on. And it's always interesting when you get like an event like this happens. Like, let's just say any movie, like it starts. I guess another example that's just randomly popped in my head is the first Strangers movie when it starts with like the phone call of like the chaos,
Yeah.
and then the movie is before all of this chaos. Then you're like, okay, something terrible is gonna happen, and then especially when they give us like the one day earlier, I'm like, okay, this is the set time frame for this entire movie. It's gonna all happen in one day. So it's just, I don't know. I guess I just like adventures like that, and it's kind of a reoccurring thing I've noticed with vampire movies. I can't name many, but another one that comes to mind is From Dusk Till Dawn. That's like another very similar just time frame window where I guess it's in the name though of the title.
Nosferatu
one
had that
night.
too, right? With the whole like they had like I'll be back in the third
Yeah,
night or whatever
yeah,
it was, right?
that's
Like
right.
it didn't start that way, but midway Nosferatu gives his timeline of like I'm gonna be back on this, and you better be fucking me, you know.
They're very
So,
punctual and they're very like to their rules. These vampires, you know, they don't enter unless you invite them in.
I'd have to go back, I guess. I guess it started with the Dracula novel, and that's fine, right? Because you go with that. But like if I make a vampire movie, I don't think I'm putting that in there. I think it's the dumbest thing ever. It's just like they can do anything they want. They can fly. They can eat, but it's like they can't walk in a room unless you say you're invited. Like, can they not go anywhere then? Like, can they not go to McDonald's unless they ask the fucking chef that they're like, hey, can we come in? Like, yeah, sure. Like, it's just like the dumbest thing. And that's one point where I'd say a minor critique. I get why they had to do it, but it felt almost like I won't say scary movie, but a comedy or a movie that took place in our day when something I was fine with. Okay. I can't remember what the first it was Haley Steinfeld, right? She's fucking eating him and everything like that. She gets shot like 5 times and then she just gets up and runs away, right? So I was like, okay, this, you know, and then Annie just says like, oh, there's an evil in her, right? Evil's come back. I'm like, that tracks for me. If she's into voodoo, doesn't know exactly what it is, but just knows it has like the devil's work, right? And then they talk about, oh, you should, you know, move Stack's body because something bad's going to happen. They never do. I hated, in a good way, I hated people kept putting their eyes against that door because he just fucking stabbed right through
I
it.
know.
Like, get your eye away from that hole. It never happened. But I thought for sure one of these characters was going to get it. And I think that was the point of the scene. But anyway, so I can't remember when it happened. I think, does Stack get out of there before Cornbread comes back or no? I think it's after, right? Stax ran away. Or Stax, no, he's still... Yeah, because he breaks out of the room, he runs, and then Cornbread comes back, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's when like shit really gets going because he grabs his arm, goes to shoot.
Great scene when he's like, oh, just give me the money. And Michael B. Jordan's still kind of, Oh, wait, no, I think Stack is still dead at this point because he's just giving him money for the night, right? Because why would he be like,
Oh,
he
that's
just saw
a good
his,
point. Yeah,
he
you're
just
right.
saw his brother come back alive. So I think he's still like, okay, weird shit's happening, but I know what's up. Cornbread, and like she even says, like, why aren't you coming here? My problem with all this was this happens. Like I said, great scene. He grabs the arm. You just see like this quick cut of Cornbread's face from the vampire, gunshot to the head. It gets out of there, right? Close the door, and then we get to Anne, who's just like, just vampire exposition 101. It feels like it's a kid in 2020 that's like watched a bunch of vampire movies. They're like vampires. Yeah, what do we need? Well, we got wood stakes, we got the clove garlics, and don't get me wrong. This is where I'll have to educate myself more. Maybe at this point already in 1932, the myth of the vampire, like even like when was like Dracula was written so long ago, right? How long original novel? Like when did that come out?
Very long time ago.
Yeah, so I'm just
Potentially
trying.
even before 1900s. Is that a word?
1897.
Oh my
So,
gosh.
but you know what? This movie takes place in 1932. So to me, I don't care. Maybe people will say I'm wrong, but without social media and internet and everything like that, that's only like under 40 years. I don't know if it's so well known that these are like garlic, sun. Like she knew everything. I get it. The idea as well. She's into that stuff. She would know. I guess it's just again speaking of like Nosferatu, the juxtaposition of we got to find a professor like Willem Dafoe knows everything, and he takes days to keep looking into this. Where she just I know this,
Yeah.
this. It felt too easy, and I wish there was almost a way that they just did it like. I get the invite you thing in because that's like that was a good tension builder, and I thought those scenes were great. But the actual weapons of the steaks and the garlic, and I guess the garlic gave us that scene of them all going around and trying, and like I thought that was funny enough. What did the blood end up being again? I can't remember.
Like a bottle of something. Because he lifted something up, and it's like, oh, it came
Yeah.
from this, but I can't remember exactly what it was.
Yeah, so
That poor fucker, man. You
I
just get
know.
knocked out. You get dragged out in the yard. It's like, come on, man. I'm sorry. And he
Yeah.
has like no idea what's
No.
going on, right? Like he's like, I'm sorry about my tab. Like he's not
Yeah.
saying anything
I'll bet.
vampire related.
Yeah.
And
But-
then fucking cornbread takes a chomp out of him.
Yeah, but like I said, yeah, that for me didn't feel natural. Oh, this is a vampire. Here's everything to know about
Yeah.
vampires. It's like, okay,
That's fair.
this feels like this should be like a modern day movie now. So I wish there was a way they could have tweaked that a bit. But
I think in the moment I was 100% in agreement with you. It's just like, oh, can we just like check box every stereotypical like vampire rule right in here? But this is also a world that vampires are real. I don't know how common they are, but like she's also kind of like a witch doctor type thing. So like she she's given like prescription medicine out to these little children paying her with fake
Yeah.
money. So I think I just kind of let it go there. But the execute it's like, okay, at some point we're gonna have to detail the rules of vampires for anyone that doesn't know what a vampire is. So it just kind of
Yes.
felt okay. Let's get through this. skip
Yeah.
cutscene, please. Like
Yeah,
that's how I felt in that
100%.
moment.
Yeah. Any other characters? Any other moments we haven't talked about that are of note there? Finale's pretty good with in the water. I think Remick is looking crazy. His nails are huge and his teeth
Yeah.
are popping off. And then you get the guitar to the head, and then they stab him, and he's burned up for a long time. He was gone there. So
Yeah.
but I enjoyed the killing of Remick and all the other people that are just standing there burning and stuff. So
Yeah, no, it was a good sequence.
how do you
think
feel?
just
With oh, go ahead.
What do you think I thought about?
I was saying, what did you think about that music scene when we got all the eras of music coming together?
I was a little bit unsure about all the details, but I can't do anything but like credit the actual execution of the scene. Just
Yeah.
all those moving parts and like just very different style. You got twerkers in there, you got DJs. So it got to a point where I was like, okay, this is a little bit like, I don't even know the right term for it. Just a little. I don't even think cheesy is the right way because like that's what they wanted to do, and like it's not really cheesy. It was just like a lot of mixing of everything all at once, especially for a movie that doesn't really feel like a Back to the Future film where I'm going to be seeing like a
Yeah.
Jimi Hendrix type character in this film. But I couldn't help but like just tip my hat to like the actual execution of it because there's just so many moving parts and it's going around and it's just doubling down on the idea of like the whole lore and mythos that was introduced at the earlier like when it's like a comic like it's like an animation
Yeah, they
of,
talk
like,
about
detailing all
music,
that. Yeah,
make you
so
see through generations, and
so
get to
I
the-
loved it. And then like the last part of when they cover it at the very start of the film is when it goes to the window and it's like those red eyes looking in, like the thread is out there. And then in that scene it goes to the vampires and like them just being drawn to it. So I ended up really, really liking it. Even though in the moment, when that guy just comes out with the electric guitar
Yeah,
and
it's
he's
like,
looking like
whoa.
he's straight out of the 80s, I'm like, whoa, what is going on here? And then yeah, we just keep getting more and more, and
I
it's
feel
not
like
all from the
that's
future. Like there is things from the past from like different cultures and stuff that look like a more, I don't know, like First Nation headdress thing.
yeah, oh
Look like they
yeah.
had some African like yeah people in there.
I feel
Some
like that's a
traditional
scene
stuff.
you could probably use as the tipping point for the movie, right? I feel like that's because after that, that's when you get them knocking and wanting to come in, or you just want
Yeah.
to play some music, which they play like the most like white version of like what blues would
Kumbaya,
be.
like
Yeah, like they're kind of laughing about it, but that's what I almost not trying to like to defend it because I liked it more, but I don't think it really works that way, but in the way of almost like that gets you to the supernatural point. Like it's a pretty much a crime film, relationship drama, character drama. Then that musical thing happens, and it's like, okay, now vampires. You know, it's almost like, oh, if you that was fucking weird, just you wait. You know,
yeah,
so I take that as like here's
yeah.
the changeover. So
No, that's fair. Yeah, it's so it's like funny the song that they chose, but I sure just love the scene of them all at the door and they're just like, what the fuck is going on
yeah,
here? And they're like, come on, we can play for you. And they're just like killing it. They're all in sync. They're doing like the same dance moves, which really just doubles down on that they're like a hive mind
yes,
essentially. Like
absolutely, yeah.
they're just so in unison, even their dance movements. And actually another thing I'm gonna credit that, and like they got $90 million budget, so it's something that we can never achieve. But man, just the lighting in all of these nighttime sequences, like especially when Haley Steinfeld was out there to like just inquire on what's going on with them, see if they're decent people, and they offer her gold. This is before he floats and chomps her, but
Yeah.
like just the lighting is like perfect because you're
Oh
able
yeah.
to like hide the eyes, but like still like highlight the features of them. And the one guy that's not Remick, like the other male guy, when he's like singing his last portion, and the camera, maybe it's just my eyes, but I swear it was like slowly zooming in on him, and it just made his features look more more animalistic. Like it made him look more
Yeah.
like a vampire. So I was like waiting for his eyes to switch there or something. I was waiting for him to like chomp. Never ended up happening, but I just thought it was such a great build up for us, like a moment where like the viewers know more than what the person in the situation knows, and you're just like
Yes.
cringing because you're like, oh my god, like when are they gonna
Get out of
chomp?
there.
When are they gonna chomp? And then she goes and like sits down next to them. I'm like, it's over for you. Fuck, this is
Oh,
horrible.
I know. Very, very bold. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and that's there's another thing to credit. This is a movie that has many outside scenes at night. Never at
Yeah.
any point was like, oh, what's going on here? It's all well lit, looks good. Obviously, they're by like a club, so it's like they show that there's street lamps or anything like that. Doesn't matter. Many movies can have lights and it still look like that. But like you talked about that scene, but there's multiple others where it's like, oh, we're nighttime and I can see everything going on and it's fucking great, you know?
Yeah.
So
Man, just some of the lights when they like get power to their shack, like right before the party starts, and you got Buddy on a ladder with his fucking metal hook that he's just like hitting the power line and like
you okay?
someone that works electrically, it's just like, man, that is so dangerous on so many levels, but like that's just what you fucking did back then, you just make it work. But
Yeah.
that's hopefully he had some rubber gloves on or something. I doubt it.
Well, I think
just
he's
like,
burned to
he,
ash
like,
now.
he
Doesn't
like
matter.
locks it on. He's like, "Oh shit!" And then he's like, "Hey, we're good." And then he just gets back down from his ladder. Like that guy had no idea what he was doing.
That's
Clearly
foreshadowing
worked,
for him. All those hand burns, you're gonna get some real bad burns at 12 a.m. or whatever, 1 a.m. when the sun comes up. So
but, another thing I wrote down. It was a nice moment when Smoke goes to meet Annie there, and then they're just reminiscing, and then it starts to get heated. And like at no point I thought it was gonna just like turn into a full on sex scene until she like just fucking zoom in, grab his crotch, like a very like detailed shot where he's like,
your body hasn't forgotten me.
Your body hasn't forgotten me. And at that point, like, I don't know if Michael B. Jordan is like 100% in with what's going on. He's just like doesn't know
was after
exactly what's
that.
happening. But then yeah, it was game time. He derobed right away. But I just appreciated the zoom in crotch grab.
Yeah, let's hope those kids don't come back to that little shack because I don't think there's any locks there. But yeah, no, I don't know how long they've been gone, but it doesn't matter. Gone from some woman and they grab your crotch and say, "Your body didn't forget me." That's it. It's game over for you. You're falling to your knees there. So yeah, I did not think it was going that way either. I thought, okay, a kiss, maybe some, and I thought, okay, we could get to a sex scene, but just right there, I was like, okay, fair enough. So yeah. Anything else, sir?
No, That's all my notes.
Mhm. Sure, we'll
Yeah.
talk about this again because not to give away his full score, but Taylor dropped a full perfect score on this on Letterboxd. He was top
Oh,
tier for this,
interesting.
so I feel like at least who knows, cut back to last year March when Dune came out. Thought we talked about it, so you never know where we're gonna be. But at least there's definitely I think multiple categories I would have this in. Acting
Hmm.
all around, visual
One of the Michael B.
scores.
Jordans will
What?
be in
Yeah,
there for
one.
sure.
Yeah, one of like the villain score for me is like I think for the year so far, I can't
Yeah.
think of a film we've talked about or reviewed so far that
And
like if it were to end right now, this takes score like easily. So
I saw Ludwig was executive producer for this as
I
well. That
did
was
too. Yeah,
man, he's risen up, eh?
he's moving up
He's
in the world.
not
Yeah.
just a composer anymore. He's making movies. So
And did you
just
see
gotta
the
see him.
Nolans, Emma Thomas and Christopher Nolan? They were in
No.
the thank yous. Yeah,
Oh, I missed
I
that.
think his Coogler went to them because he was filming with different cameras this time, with film and in IMAX. You should go watch at some point. There's a very cool 12-minute video of him just being full on educated, masterful filmmaker of just breaking down all the different films and how they play differently in each type of film and how they're set up. Very
Coogler
nerdy
or
shit, but yeah,
Nolan?
it's Coogler.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
very nerdy shit, but it's like, oh man, this guy knows what he's doing.
Hell
But yeah,
yeah.
he talked to Nolan about some of that stuff. So, yeah, well, if that's it, what would you give this for a final rating?
Yeah, this is a tricky one because
Mhm.
I definitely have issues with it. Like even my separate movie idea theory, like separate, I still do have like some issues on like the technicality side of it. We've broken down pretty much all of them. Well, most of them at least. I'm probably forgetting something, um, but like at the end of the day, I did really have a good time with this. I definitely want to rewatch this
Mhm.
film. Just like man, I really love Michael B. Jordan. I feel like I like don't
Oh
credit
yeah.
him enough because every time I see him in something, he's just so spectacular, and that's just like the standard I expect now. But like seeing two Michael B. Jordans in here and playing different characters, like man, this guy is so talented. I want to see him
Oh
in more
yeah.
things, but
And he's
and
directing
great
now
pairing
too.
with Coogler.
Remember, directed
Yeah,
Creed
Creed
3. So
Creed
this
3.
guy's just evolving.
Absolutely. Maybe he'll be Michael A. Jordan here pretty soon. He'll get bumped up a tier.
Yeah, he's still
Um,
working on it.
and yeah, like music was fantastic. Really loved like the lore and setup and the way that we kind of talked around it. I didn't say specifically, but I really like just the look of the vampires in this movie with the distinct eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the big bad wolf eyes. So yeah, this is a tricky score for me. I think right now I'm gonna give it an 8.3. I don't know. I think 8.5 is a little bit too high with just how jarring the step from the regular film to the vampire side for me was. Maybe on a rewatch, I won't think that too much. Obviously, it changes when you just know what's going to be happening. And I don't know. Maybe I'll be able to see the transition from the two stories a little bit better on another viewing. But yeah, I don't know. I still think it's a really really solid film. Definitely wasn't what I was expecting. I honestly coming into this because like I'd seen the trailer. I didn't rewatch the trailers. I thought like Stack was gonna be like the leader of the vampires, and like it was gonna
Mm.
be like a head-to-head showdown, like Smoke versus Stack. I didn't know all the details how it was gonna work, but
Even
I
the
thought it was
poster behind us, he's looking pretty evil there, but it's literally just that's his
yeah.
color scheme. That's what he wears. It's red. He's not that evil. Even we didn't even talk about the end credit thing. We didn't even talk
Oh
about
yeah.
yeah. So the movie ends. We've got that nice moment. Michael B. Jordan sees his family, and then we see Sammy, who his father's like, "Let go of that guitar." Now he gets back in the vehicle, drives away. He's gonna go become a fucking musician, and everything, right? Maybe he goes to Bayou. And then we get the credits, and that's like they show Sammy. Yeah, we can talk about the full ending where he's now. I think it was like 19. I think it's 19.
1993. I
Yeah,
think is what it said.
1993. So he's now an older gentleman, but he's playing at a club. It's his club or whatever his gig because there's a poster. They're kind of marketing like the scratches he had on his face, like on the album cover, and he's sounding great. And he's sitting there at the end of the show, and the bartender or somebody's like, "Oh, there's two people in here asked for you." Like, I understand the show and the meet and greet's kind of over, so should I send him away? He's like, no, send him in. Go ahead. And then, and in my theater that only had 7 people, 3 of the people, which were girls, they like erupted of like, oh my god, because it was like they come to the door. It's Michael B. Jordan as Stack, and then Haley Steinfeld as Mary. They've been alive now for 60 years, but they haven't aged and they're vampires, and they give a whole backstory of how they're alive and yet and Stack's like the only deal I made was, which is again, this is why I was like, I might take the vampire deal, because at first when Stack becomes a vampire, it's like very much like, oh, Remick could be controlling him or he's completely crazy. But where he is now, he seems pretty control of his emotions because like that same night he like made a deal with his brother. Like, fine, if you let me go, I won't hurt our cousin. That's like the way I looked at them. They looked so crazed. At no point I thought the vampire's gonna be like, yeah, I can make a deal with you, but I guess so. So that's what's again this vampire deal. Don't know if it's that bad, but yeah, he said. Stack said to Smoke, I'm not gonna hurt him, I'll let him live his life out. Loved the detail of he sniffed him. He's like, oh, you don't have much time left. And he like gives him the offer though that they could do that. And then they just kind of reminisce that was the last, like they consider that the greatest day of their lives or the last best day of their lives because like they're all together. Stack's like, I could see the sun. But again, you got Michael B. or you got Haley Steinfeld. Just put in a fucking screensaver. Well, I guess they don't call it the internet yet. Internet's gonna change the world. They can just put a fucking ambience of the sun and be like, oh, look at this. But yeah, they're all 90s swagged out. Like Haley Steinfeld talked about before. They got her completely sex bot. She has like a top tied up, her lower back
The
showing. Like,
lollipop and like the big loop earrings. Yeah.
these pretty much are just like these characters are fucking nonstop for the past 7 years. But yeah, it was strange because I like that little. It's very much like an epilogue, and you made the joke about it feeling like a Chat GPT Taylor end credit because it did go on for a while. I don't know how I feel with the placing of it because I love that ending with Smoke, but at the same time, you couldn't do like the epilogue and then go back to Smoke, right? That would feel weird. So I kind of get why you want to do that. So I don't know if it would have been better just to end it that way. So I don't know. This is one I got to sit on, but the overall scene I did like because I like the idea of them still kicking around and just like a full kind of not. And I like that they didn't like turn and like kill them. They did like keep their deal up, like okay, and it was just to like say goodbye to a family member, and then they're gonna go back on to fucking I guess in the nighttime. But I did like the scene. Just have to think about it more as far as the placing. And then we had another end credit, which just the Sammy singing, which fine.
I didn't stay for that one. I stayed for the juicy one.
I wasn't happy about that.
Yeah. Plus, at that point, I was the only guy in the theater, and I'm like, I don't want to scare the fucking employee
I was
that's
worried
coming
too.
in here, and
Yeah.
I'm just standing here alone. I did like the scene. I think I was a little bit just like perplexed on why like the vampires, or I guess specifically Stack, would have like stuck true to the deal that he made with Smoke. I don't know. Like I guess he's just very honorable. It just, to your point, like they just seem so blood crazed that like yeah, you better not fucking come back and kill us, you know, or that's that. Like it just seemed a bit of a stretch. And then
Deal.
yeah, and I just think for how the vampires were shown before that, I wouldn't have believed that a vampire like would stay to that, but maybe it was just tied to Remick and just that he was kind of the leader, and then because he died, maybe they just have more free will now. I don't know exactly. It's a little bit fuzzy there, but I did like the sequence, and I did like how, because something that like is mentioned, like it's kind of minor, but it is mentioned in the film that like just the effect that like the music has on the vampires as well. Like that's what Remick says, right? Like he wants Sammy to get these like memories, or just like taken back to his
like
people.
That.
Something
he
like
wants
that.
he wants the songs for sure.
He's clearly very passionate about his own music, his Irish music. So yeah, and then of course just how Stack and Mary are just kind of like reacting to that moment when yeah, he's just giving a little bit of blues again. You know, the good old stuff as they said. So I did like the sequence. I love the outfits too. It was just kind of fun to.
He has a fucking like Stack like. Like the knuckles, like
the John Cena ones, you know, like the
word life. Yeah, he has that, and it just says Stack. It's like awesome.
Yeah, no, I did appreciate it, and I was just surprised by the length. I don't think I've seen an end credit scene that long in a really long time, and you know, there's a couple people in my theater that they completely missed that whole scene. So I definitely think it's an okay end credit, but they could have done like end director and then like play that sequence, you know, like not wait that long. I'm glad it wasn't right at the end credits. I would have been really bad because almost nobody would have seen this, and this is like a pretty important epilogue to the tale, I feel. But yeah, and 8.3 I think is what I gave if I haven't already said that number.
Yeah, this one is a tough one for me too, because I think critically I'm somewhere in the 9.5, but you know, you can say I'm biased and I'm a Kugler just like sucker, but I'm going giving it a 10 as well, because for me it's the positives outweigh the negatives I had, and most negatives are nitpicks or we're like, okay, that could have been done a little bit better. But it's just because all the other stuff is so good. This looks so good. This is where it's like, I'm a big defender of It Chapter 2. You got Nosferatu. There's many other ones, right? But like, I want to get to the state, and I feel like we're getting there. And there's tons of films that probably I haven't even seen that are like this, but I love that we're getting the state of, you know, some big budget horror films that are drama and we really care about what's going on. It isn't just like a schlock fest of violence and gore. And I love that. Don't get me wrong. Don't stop making those. Go make your Terrifiers. I'll watch those too. But for a while, I feel like there was an error or an era. I mean, it's like the past 10, 15 years before, I don't know, maybe post COVID around then. I'd have to really track. I just felt like there was time where those were very few and far in between. It feels like we're getting back to that. And to me, this is just like Brian Coogler just flexing on a lot of stuff. It's just a master class of filmmaking, and I can't wait to see what he does. And like I said, maybe when I rewatch this, I'll feel more strongly on that score and be like, yeah, I'm 100% right. And even my critical, I'd pick that up. Or maybe I might go back to, you know what, actually, I would dock it for this, this, and this. But for me, it's just like coming off of it, how much I enjoyed about it. I got to go that route. So, yeah, no, I'm glad we did this. It was a good time. Like I said, we'll definitely talk about this Golden Geeks because I know Tara will talk about it and Dylan will have to watch. We'll see what happens there. And yeah, we'll be back next week with other casts and promise you, it'll not be boring.